Fine people, very fine people, very
The white guy is a master race. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those welfare bums are living high on the high. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every Muslim is a terrorist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Mexicans are stealing jobs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't wanna live like that. I don't wanna live like that.
In November of 1998, Caesar Pink presented a surreal street theater protest on Wall Street, in the heart of New York's financial district.
Our daily bread was crazy. We were all in masks and costumes down on Wall Street by the stock exchange. Caesar had us lay loaves of Wonder Bread about every 5 feet on the sidewalks. And attached to each loaf was an advertisement from Satan. The ad offered to buy people's souls in exchange for all the material possessions one can obtain by working a corporate job that leaves little room for spirituality.
I've always wondered about the people I see living 9-to-5 lives. I see them in the subway looking so miserable, and I couldn't understand what kept them going. I started to suspect that perhaps they were so far removed from introspection or their own spirituality that they just didn't know there was any other way. Our daily bread was my way of releasing my own frustrations, and perhaps for just a moment, allowing these people to stand back and question what's really important. There was a moment that day where I stopped and looked down Wall Street, and everywhere I looked there were businessmen standing staring at the bread with confused looks in their faces, and I knew that made it all worthwhile. I love throwing a wrench into the norm and making people stop and scratch their heads for a moment. The people at Wonder Bread were kind enough to donate 100 loaves of bread, and soon the cops came zooming in. Bomb-sniffing dogs were brought in to check the bread for explosives. It was really ridiculous. But by the end of the day, we were taking pictures with European tourists in front of George Washington's statue, and everyone had a good time.
With my old love, I loved her through and through, and I'm searching for a new love. Can that new love be? I wanna. This is the way not to keep you down. All major.
I've never cooked an artichoke in my life.
I'm a murderer for the dream of America, in the name of democracy, for unfair capitalism, for busting us down. I am a murderer. I am a murderer. My victims lie beneath the ground and hands on my feet of their tread. Their hapless faces I've never gazed upon. I know nothing of their actions. I can make no judgment of their deeds. Do they deserve their fate? I cannot say. There are countless other names that are not written down in any journal. I am a murderer. Because I pay taxes, I am a murderer.
Imagine a nation where the government drops bombs on its own citizens. Where corporations control armies larger than that of the U.S. government. Where the police, courts, judges, and juries are owned by big business. Where families starve and working people are gunned down if they refused to labor for slave wages. Important stories in American history has never been told on film. The story of the working people, the struggle between the haves and have-nots, strength in union, the history of the American labor movement.
There is no worker share as their productivity increases. It's all gone to the top.
Well, in this country, if you have money, just money alone, it makes money for you. You don't have to create jobs. You don't have to do anything. The whole world could be unemployed, but the stock market's doing good.
Anyone you ask will say, no, I'm free and independent. I'm not influenced by anything. Sure, that's a reflexive answer. Nobody thinks they're being subjected to propaganda. If they did, the propaganda wouldn't be working.
There were 60 people in the room, women and children as well as men, in Oklahoma City, trying to start an oil workers union. 6 men came in with overcoats on, and they didn't take their overcoats off. They just stood against the back wall. And the organizer leaned over to me and Woody Guthrie, the other singer there. Woody was the extraordinary man who wrote This Land Is Your Land and several thousand other songs. He says, those men don't take off their overcoats. They may have clubs under them. They may be intending to break up the meeting. See if you can get the crowd singing. Well, we did get them all singing, the women and kids too. And they never did break up the meeting. Afterwards, they came forward and said, you know, this is a different kind of a meeting than we were told it was going to be. We were told you were a bunch of communists who wanted to overthrow the government. And they had clubs under baseball bats under their overcoats. They did say, you ought to have an American flag here, and the organizer said, you're right. Next meeting we'll have one right near the table.
And we were determined not to let one bullet kill a movement, only a man but not a movement. We thought Dr. King would have us pick up the broken pieces and move on. And Dr. Lauer would often say it's not so much who killed him, but what killed him, a sick society. So we felt the burden, even with heavy hearts and lots of pain, to march on. Because if we had stopped at Calvary, so to speak, we couldn't have gone on to the resurrection. So we went on. We marched in Memphis. We went on to Washington to the Resurrection City, the Poor People's Campaign. We refused to let one bullet kill a movement.
Eats a sugar-coated weedy puffs and hits the skull. Now it's fountain in his seat and he gets it still. Till they fill him up with Ritalin to keep him calm. But no one ever asks why he's become so dumb. You got your natural drives in a world mechanized and it just ain't right. They want you robotized from your mind to survive, getting Easter ties. take a pill, take a pill. Figure what you need to change the way you feel. Take a pill, maybe two. The man on your TV says it's good for you. Take a pill, get a thrill. You don't even need to be ill. Take a pill, take a few. The corporation man really want you to.
We're here with artist Keith Duncan. Keith, my first question is, what made you want to be an artist?
I don't think I wanted to be an artist. I was like, this was something I was good at from what I knew from my childhood, you know.
Was it a compulsion for you? Did it seem like something you had to do?
Definitely, because as a child, you know, we all try to find out what we want to do in life and what we want to be. And